Happy Monday, y'all. Jeff here, no cutscenes, back with another Fallout 4 video. And today we have a Contraptions conveyor belt guide, basics, how-to, whatever you want to call it, where just an overview, some tips and tricks, just some basic ideas on what to do with the conveyor belts. And as you can see, we got this little contraption thing built already, kind of just to show you what you can do with everything. And I just wanted to show off that Abraxo power armor thing because it's fucking dope. So first of all, we'll just go into the actual tab they're under. It's in power and then all the way over to manufacturing. And as you can see, like, there are a few different types of conveyor systems, and I've already done a few of them in one of my builds, the toy factory. I didn't really go in depth on what you can do with it, but essentially you're going to have this section, the conveyor belt section here, where you're going to start off with this piece, which is just a conduit powered conveyor belt piece. Now essentially what that is you connect power to it. It doesn't mean you need a certain amount of power, and everything else that say snaps to it, other conveyor belt pieces, lifts, stuff like that, splits, rollers, everything will be powered off of that one, so you don't need to connect power to them. Now we have a bunch of different types of conveyor belts here, where essentially, again, as you can see, they snap onto each other. And then you have just longer ones, you have shorter ones, you have these L-shaped pieces, turns basically. And yeah, there's just a lot that you can do with it. And of course we have these splits here too, where essentially I have built one already, and I'm going to show you what you can kind of do with it based on some switches and stuff like that. But these are really cool because you can essentially have like one builder and then 10 of these damn branches, and something crazy as far as like an assembly line type thing. Now we also have downward ramps, and then all of these same pieces of the conveyor belts that had the supports on them, just without support, so you can have them hanging and stuff like that. Of course, they start off with conduit, basically so on and so forth from there. Now, they're really easy to work with. They just snap onto each other. They only snap one way, and essentially if you have your piece, say your conveyor belt with that power conduit, and the power conduit's on the right and the piece is facing away from you, that means it's going to go straight. And I mean, if you don't know that 100% by now, basically just push the thing of power or attach a generator to it and you'll find out. Now, these pieces here are actual switches and kind of like diverters, basically, that essentially act as sort of the laser tripwires, but they actually turn back off and on, so it's you don't have to do a ridiculous setup. Now you can put them on pretty much any straight piece of the conveyor belt. So like I was saying, you can have 10 of these branches with 10 different switches switching these little diverters that you'll see in a second, pretty much constantly. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And then there's of course two different versions. One is a switch, one is a pulse. Basically the switch is each time something crosses it, it turns off and on, and the pulse is just it outputs power whenever there is something in the actual tripwire. So it doesn't turn it off and on, it just turns on for that brief second. So let me just go ahead and show you kind of example here. And it's pretty cool because you can have these things kind of, again, anywhere on your entire conveyor belt system, and you can just do crazy things as far as like the diverters, the switches, sending things in different paths. But there you go, it's pretty simple. And then it'll just go into the rollers here, it'll slide off and go right into this bin, which is called a hopper. So yeah, pretty simple. And as you can see, like, when the switch goes, it'll even turn on another one. So I just wanted to have this so it wasn't just going into one hopper, and just to show you what you can do. So yeah, now next up we have the lifts, and these are pretty cool. Basically they just give you a floor up. You can only attach them, of course, from an existing conveyor belt or a builder. And yeah, essentially there's just ones with supports. We have like the S-shaped one, there's a C that goes back on itself, and yeah, I'll just show you how to attach them real quick. They're real easy. And again, there's ones with supports, ones without it, and here are the ones without it. And again, like I was saying before, if you take one of the conveyor belt pieces that has the conduit, you place it, say, right in front of that lift. The lift is powered through that conduit conveyor belt piece. You don't have to actually power the lift itself. So I mean, there's a lot of versatility here, and as you can see, some have support, some don't. And now, last up, let's just go through the hopper. Now we're going to be doing some sorters as well, but we'll get to that in a second. Basically, a hopper is just a giant container that essentially has stuff fed into it, like you saw before, where the Gauss rifle and the sawed-off shotgun were just falling into it. It takes 3 power. You can set up switches to it, so you can release it or you can just have it attached to, say, one of the conveyor belt conduit pieces. Now, I decided to actually make mine just off a switch so I can show you kind of just how things work on, you know, two separate levels. But they're really great. It's nice to be able to catch stuff as opposed to having stuff drop, say, either onto a conveyor belt from another conveyor belt. You don't have to worry. Yeah, now let's go ahead. We'll go into the actual machinery part. So we have builders. These are just, you know, what I was doing in the toy factory where it's just basic stuff. And of course, armor, weapons, there's ammunition, there's a fireworks, even explosives, clothing. There's a lot. There's even a food processor, which is pretty cool. So if you're doing like a survival mode build and you want to kind of just really, you know, make yourself kind of powerful and, well, just not die, you can use the food processor. It's really nice of what you can do. So now let's go ahead and mess around underneath the hoppers because they actually have a snap point with the conveyor belt. So unfortunately this one, it wouldn't snap with the one with supports just for some reason. I don't know, maybe just the placement of where I had everything just wasn't right. But as you can see, you can snap to it. Now, we're gonna do a little technique here, which I wanna show you. If you say ever wanna have something like drop off like a cliff, or if you just wanna have stuff go down one level. So it's really easy. Basically, you just take the downward piece, pop it on there, and I have to move these scaffolding, so after I do that, we got them here. Basically, again, place your straight piece, remove the downward piece, attach a straight piece to the back of it, and just think of it like you're working backwards somewhat. There you go. You have one that's exactly lined up. It's straight onto the other one, but it's down one level. And you can keep doing this like I'm going to do here, because I want to have it sort of like, you know, the guns drop down onto that one, then they drop onto that one. So yeah, it's pretty cool what you can do with it. Again, like it's just really messing around with it. It's a good little technique that I want to show y'all here. But so what I want to actually do is something a little different. But before we get into that, this is nice. The hopper actually has snap points. Now you can see that I snapped like the barn floor pieces to the actual hopper up top, and the hopper itself is like the height of one of the warehouse or the barn walls. So it makes itself, you know, really easy to actually kind of build something around. So yeah, that's just another little tip. It's the height of the warehouse, and you can snap stuff to it. So now let's go ahead, because I wanted to change this up. I wanted to make you go down one more, and then have like one of the turn pieces go, so we can have a little section where we're going to sort shit and kind of just, you know, figure out a little bit more about the conveyor belt system. So yeah, but first we're going to have to go down one. I wanted it to be a little bit lower. Yeah, but again, super easy to do, and just think like you're working backwards. Now, good thing is we know that we can have some supports down there because it ignores the collision there. So if we want, we can try it out with the turn. I think it actually ends up not letting us do it because of where the stairs are, but either way, we can figure out some supports with it later, because again, we have the option to do no supports. It's nice. It's really easy. So, all right, so now we got this little thing built. Let's go ahead and move our foundation back here. And yeah, so it looks like we're all set to go as far as at least having snap points from the hopper, being able to go down one where something is, say, perfectly still lined up with it. Now, what I want to do here is, because the hopper is actually separate from the conveyor belt system, like there's nothing attaching to it, you're going to have to put one of the conveyor belt pieces with the conduit, attach the conduit to a separate power source, or the power source that turns off and on the hopper. But if, say, you just left it like that, or you didn't have one of the conduit pieces, it wouldn't work. The actual conveyor belt system down below wouldn't. So yeah, I mean, it's really simple once you get the hold of it, or once you get the hang of it. But just to kind of start out, those are some, you know, that's a rule of thumb. Now, next up, let's go through the sorters. The sorters they're a little tricky at first if you don't understand it, and I had to go watch a video on it, I'll be honest. But basically, the sorter, the one that's not the component sorter, just the basic sorter, is really simple. Whatever object you want sorted out. Now, it's going to sort out to the right, so that that conveyor belt system. Whatever object you want sorted, you place inside that sorter's inventory, just like you would transfer to, you know, workbench or something. Whatever's in there is going to get transferred out. That's pretty simple. Now, the component sorter is a little different because it's, of course, based on what components are inside the actual thing you want to sort. So say you have like a jangles that you want to get sorted out, and you know it takes fiberglass, cloth, and plastic. If you put all three of those ingredients or all three of those crafting materials inside there, it's going to sort the jangles out. If you put one of those materials inside there, it's going to sort out the jangles and whatever else has plastic in it. So say you make something else that has plastic, like one of those toy aliens or the pumpkin, that is also going to sort it out. But if you put something that the pumpkin doesn't have, that Jangles does have, only Jangles will be sorted. So yeah, and also we have these storage conveyor belt systems here. Super simple. It's just a container. Whatever gets sorted or whatever does not get sorted, basically just gets stored in one of those container systems. And yeah, it's just a big old container that you don't have to, actually have placed off there. So now we're gonna do another little technique here. It's really simple as well. Basically, it's just snapping, and we're just working backwards. So anytime you kind of you need to place a power conduit underneath something, just work backwards. Place whatever piece you're gonna have connected to it, and then go from there. So now, I actually kind of lucked out here. I didn't plan this. It dropped off perfectly. So now you can do two kind of drops. You can do the straight half conveyor belt piece, or you can do the downward drop. With the downward drop though, a lot of times the object just has too much momentum and it kind of flies off. So I found that it's just better if you have it kind of drop straight down because it's not going as fast. It doesn't kind of, bounce off or jump or whatever. Yeah, that's just kind of what I found. So let's go ahead, we'll get everything wired, and as you can see, the sorters themselves also have conduits on them, so whatever is off the sorter will get power as long as the sorter itself has power. So I wanted to have the sorters go to the hopper, and of course the hopper is on its own switch, so basically when the hopper gets turned on, the sorters get turned on, and everything else down here gets turned on. So yeah, let's go ahead, we'll go over a little bit more on how to actually build some stuff with the conveyor and the machinery systems, but essentially we have our system built, and what I want to do is show you guys just how to do some sorting, how to do some collection of the actual items that you've made, and just give you some ideas. Yeah, so again, what I wanted to do was the one that I wanted to be sorted was the Gauss rifle. So I put the Gauss rifle in there. Now the Gauss rifle is going to be sorted out of the T, so it's going to be sorted out of the one that I'm looking at right now. So it's going to be, down to that one where the component sorter is. Now, the Gauss rifle, I'm pretty sure it doesn't have plastic or fiberglass or cloth. So basically that Gauss rifle will be going straight, but I'm also going to be making a Jangles, which does have fiberglass, cloth, and plastic, which will be sorted to the right. Now as well, I'm going to be making some, I think, shotgun shells for the double barrel shotgun, and of course the double barrel. The double barrel shotgun will not be sorted, neither will the shotgun shells. So the shotgun shells are going to go there, and the double barrel will be sorted into the conveyor storage to the right. So yeah, it's just, you'll see it in a second. I know it's a little bit confusing kind of when I just talk about it, but essentially you'll see it. Don't worry. Now, I wanted to have this drop off here, and you can always make chutes where essentially things just go straight down. But yeah, that's up to you if you want to do it. Use some lockers or bigger containers. Now again, essentially I have this connected to all the hoppers. So once I power that switch, which is separate from the actual conveyor system that we have up here, all the hoppers will release their or whatever's in their container. So yeah, now let's just go ahead, show you how the actual machinery looks when you pull it up inside of the terminal. Now, I have everything based off of this 100 power generator, and everything through the generator though is based off the terminal. Now you'll know that they're working if they're pumping up and down, and of course you can actually see objects being produced out of them, and there's no sound or anything as far as a ding when it's made. It just pops out, but you'll see here, hopefully we'll have the shotgun drop down. Nice. So yeah, and there's that switch, putting them over to the right, diverting them. Cool. Now let's go ahead, we'll take a look to show you just how the actual interface looks. And we have all the builder controls because again, everything is through the terminal. So let's say we want to go ahead and build a Django. So you have all these different options. It'll let you know exactly what materials, and that's how you're able to determine what you need to put in the component sorter if you want something to be sorted. So we've already filled up pretty much everything, and let's go take a look, see how it comes out in the end. Yeah, and I mean, again, there's everything. You can even control the hopper, we got our jangles being made. Dope. So now let's go ahead. We'll take a look at the heavy weapons forge. Make it the Gauss, and we should have the Gauss coming down. I think I actually made some missile launchers for a second, but it was only like 2 of them. Yeah, so it's the Gauss. Now you'll see here that these hoppers are filled with whatever's, of course, being dropped into it. So let's release the hopper. Basically, power goes to it. Power goes then to the conveyor belts that's underneath them, and the hopper just drops stuff kind of straight onto it. So yeah, now what I was saying before was you could use the terminal to actually control the hopper, where you set the output timer. If you do it a half second, it jams. Don't do it. Just do it anything above a half second. You can even do it up to 30 seconds, and then you can set the output force, which basically sends stuff out either 1 at a time or 30 at a time. So you can get pretty crazy. So now, this is what I was talking about with the chute, where you can build something and kind of like catch everything. But we'll deal with that later. For now, we got this sorter working. So again, like I said, the straight sorter, not the component sorter, whatever item you put in there, that will be sorted out. So we'll wait for a Gauss rifle to come through, but already you can see it from before, it just worked. So the Gauss rifle is sorted out, and the double barrel shotgun is not. And because I put, holy shit, that's a Jangles explosion, that's fucking awesome. But yeah, because I put the components of the Jangles, fiberglass, cloth, and plastic, the Jangles is being sorted out. Now again, you could have put just say fiberglass, just cloth, or just plastic, and it would still sort the Jangles out. But for this, just the purpose, I just wanted to show you that with all the ingredients, it still sorts it out. And then we have basically everything that doesn't have fiberglass, cloth, or plastic not being sorted and going into the container storage further down there. So now you see, basically, again, the container storage works as a big-ass container where it just accepts everything and takes it in. And that's pretty much it. So it's really easy to build with this stuff. Like, once you get the hang of it and once you understand, like, the snap points, once you figure out how to build kind of, like, layers and everything, like, you can have things drop, 10 stories 100 times because it's only like a little small drop. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with this. It's pretty cool. But for the last bit here, I want to show you just another trick that I've learned. I'm going to be doing a few more of these videos, kind of just tips and tricks with contraptions, conveyor belts, ball tracks, everything. But what you can do is, if you take one of the branch pieces, attach it to, say, just any of the other snappable pieces, and then take 2 of the straight pieces, snap it onto the front, it's going to come this way. Remove the branch piece. You can actually go ahead and place builders right there, and you have 2 perfectly lined up conveyor belt tracks that, if, say, you put a hopper in front of, the hopper will catch both of them. It's pretty cool. So now, say you put one of these builders behind one of the other builders, or like something else. Whatever you produce from the one that's behind it will go into the other one that's in front of its inventory. Now, whatever the one in front of it's done producing, whatever else that one behind it made and put into the inventory, it will then ship out. But only once it's done producing what it's producing. So now again, like I say, work backwards. It's so great. Follow what I do, and then basically you can have something just drop right onto the conveyor belt system that you had before, so you can have like just a shit ton of these builders and these machinery objects just producing things in like a very small area. You could essentially stack like what was it, like 20 stories in Abernathy, and just have this crazy system and machine factory that's just pumping out shit constantly, in a small area. So I mean, it'd be really fucking tall, but it'd be pretty cool. So, and as you can see, like, it'll just drop perfectly right on it there. Yeah. Like, I love this shit when it actually comes together. Oh yeah, and last, now this is actually last but not least, we're gonna go ahead and we'll deal with, what is this thing called? The vacuum hopper. Now, this is a little different. It kind of really doesn't have like a place unless you want to have stuff stored and then taken out and put into another conveyor belt. I mean, again, this is all up to you. Figure out how you use it. I just really haven't found a good purpose for it. Maybe once I build my machine factory or my robot factory or whatever. But basically what it is it sucks things out of containers. So you attach power to it. You can attach other conveyor belt pieces to the front of it. So of course it'll send stuff out that way. You put a container, no, I'm just putting this bathtub here to collect shit that falls down. But if you put a container near the vacuum hopper, just any container, and place objects in it, it'll just suck it out, put it on the conveyor system, push them forward. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So put some stuff in here just to show you how it actually works. We'll go ahead, we'll connect power to it because it does need power directly to it. And basically, yeah, it just sucks stuff out of the container that's back there. My bathtub was off a little bit, but y'all get the idea. And yeah, I'm sure I'll be able to figure out some practical uses for this, maybe, you know, with my survival mode series that I'm going to start up again, because I didn't want to stream that for y'all because it was only at 480p. Yeah, I just didn't feel like that was any good. But there we go. Thanks for watching. I'm going to do some more stuff soon. Peace. Have a good day, y'all.